The stadium lights were off, the field was empty, and yet, the future of baseball was about to change in a room where no fans could see it. It began with a signature. A single stroke of ink. Simple, quiet, almost invisible. But sometimes the quietest moments hit the sport the loudest. People thought it was just another contract. Another headline. Another offseason splash by the Dodgers. But they were wrong. So wrong. Because this wasn't just about Shohei Whitney joining Los Angeles for $68 million. This was a tremor. A warning. A signal that baseball's biggest storm might actually be avoided. For months, whispers rippled through the league. Tremendous tension was building between players and owners. A lockout in 2027 felt not just possible, but inevitable. Owners tightening budgets. Players demanding fairness. A tug of war with no end in sight. Then came Whitney. A two-way icon in the making. A superstar whose value stretched far beyond the numbers on a scoreboard. And yet, he signed low. Much lower than the world expected. $68 million. Not pocket change, but nowhere near the astronomical deals analysts were projecting. At first, people asked, why? Why would a global superstar take far below his market value? Some said loyalty. Some said strategy. Some said the Dodgers culture can make any star sacrifice a little for a shot at a ring. But there was something deeper. Something almost hidden beneath the surface. Whitney's contract wasn't just a deal, it was a message. Because by taking less, he shifted the balance of power. He changed the temperature of labor negotiations before they even began. Suddenly, players across the league reevaluated their expectations. Agents recalibrated. Owners took notice, not of the discount, but of the philosophy. A star proving that flexibility wasn't weakness. A superstar showing he didn't need to squeeze every last dollar to prove his worth. But here's where the twist came. By accepting $68 million, Whitney didn't weaken other players. He strengthened them. Because instead of a contract arms race that would push owners into corners, increase tensions, and ignite resentment, his deal stabilized the room. It brought conversations back to earth. It cooled down the fireworks before the fuse even lit. And when the league cooled, it started talking. Talking about fairness. Talking about sustainability. Talking about preventing the catastrophic lockout everyone feared, a lockout that once felt written in stone. In Los Angeles, the Dodgers front office understood exactly what this meant. They didn't just sign a player. They signed a tone setter, for an entire sport. Every time Whitney stepped onto the field, fans saw a megastar. But behind the scenes, negotiators saw a bridge. A bridge between two sides drifting dangerously far apart. And yet, the most dramatic part wasn't the contract itself. It was the effect it had on the minds of younger stars. They saw that greatness didn't require greed. That legacy mattered more than leverage. That the sport they loved was bigger than the paycheck they chased. Slowly, almost silently, the narrative shifted. Owners stopped panicking about spiraling salaries. Players stopped fearing aggressive cutbacks. And for the first time in years, both sides breathed the same air. Dodgers fans celebrated. Other teams watched cautiously. And MLB leadership. They felt something they hadn't felt in ages. Hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, 2027 wouldn't end with baseball's gates locked, its stadiums silent, and its fans abandoned. Hope that the game could grow, not fracture. Heal, not fight. Evolve, not explode. And through it all, Whitney kept playing. Smiling. Competing. Dominating. He didn't talk about saving baseball. He didn't mention negotiations. He didn't claim he was changing anything. He simply played the game he loved, and let his contract do the speaking. But the baseball world heard him loud and clear. They heard the message hidden inside the $68 million. They heard the reminder that players and owners weren't enemies, they were partners. Partners in a sport that could not survive another war. As weeks passed, conversations grew healthier. Tension softened, and the idea of a 2027 lockout faded like mist in morning sunlight. The sport that once felt like it was on the edge of collapse now felt grounded, steady, almost peaceful. All because one player chose balance over battle, team over turmoil, future over fortune. And one day, long after this contract becomes old news, baseball fans may look back and realize, this was the moment everything changed. This was the moment the cliff turned into a road. This was the moment the sport took a breath and stepped away from disaster. Not with a strike. Not with a shouting match. Not with a courtroom war. But with a pen. A signature. A quiet choice that echoed louder than any home run. Some heroes save seasons. Some heroes save games. But every once in a while, a hero saves the future. And Shohei Whitney may have just done exactly that.